reciprocity there between the reading and the writing. Every time we add a word, we go back and read it to make sure it's right. And that's also part of checking on yourself and editing, isn't it, for writing? We only wrote one sentence, and then I said, what goes at the end? And if they don't know it, you're going to say, a period. We put a period at the end of our thought in our sentence. Does that make sense? How much are you going to write? I can't tell you. You know, sometimes, depending on your students, it might take a while to have them hold it in their head. But that's okay. That's okay. What if you didn't finish it? You can finish it in another time. Don't make it hard, make it more enjoyable. Does that make sense? Chloe has never worked with me in her life. But this is the thing about kids, that they love the attention. They love the attention, and they love, you know, they just love to be with an adult to share what they know and know that they have the support. And when you do the writing and the reading, they don't have to be afraid to make a mistake because they know that you're there to help them. But you're not there to do it for them. What can you try? What do you hear? Did that match? You want to try that again? You see, I kind of didn't tell her all the answers. So that's that part. Any questions on that so far? Yes.
Do you want to correct spelling?
Yes.
Okay, because
Yes.
I've noticed like my grandchildren, they just write first grade and they wrote it wrong. They were getting their thoughts on words.
Well, but see, that's for your process writing. When you're writing with them what you want them, you're writing interactively with them. So because you're with them, when they're on their own, it might be misspelled.
Okay.
But when you're with them, you're going to fill in what they don't know. So that it's because any text that's going to be read has to be correct. We're not dinging them for not being correct. We're helping them. And I say, I am so glad you knew that likes had the L and the I. You are so smart. For 20 years, that's all that came out of my mouth. You are so smart. Principal said, Sue, really? Every time I go by your room, I hear, you're so smart. Oh, well, you know, you are. But that's the thing, if you tell them, no, you left off half the letters in the word likes are going to shut right down. Y'all wouldn't do that, I know that. You're all kids. So I said, you are so smart to know that there's a space between that word. You're so smart that you knew that the had an E in it. You're so right. I'm going to put the T and the H right in front of that E. Does that make sense? Because it's going to be read. And any text that's going to be read needs to be correct. But that's why you're there, to help them. That's a very good question. Very good question. So, anything else? Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What would you recommend for a child who wants to sound out every single word? What would you
I would say this. Does that word, you know, you can't sound out the. Some of the words you can't sound out. And sometimes this was my trial or miss, they were writing was, and you call it W-U-Z is how most first graders write was. And you know, you're gonna have word walls in the classroom too. So if you're in a classroom, you might say, oh, look at the word walls, it's up there. But sometimes when they can't sound the word out, I say, shut your eyes and tell me what that word looks like when you read it. And I want to tell you, that worked. That little kid wrote W-A-S because that visual memory. So sometimes I just have to say, this is one of those words, we can't hear all the sounds. I'm just going to put that letter there for you. Does that make sense? But if it's a word that they can hear the sounds in, encourage them to say the word slowly. That slows them down so they can attend. And it slows the process down so they can problem solve. Because that's going from left to right in writing. They do the same thing when they read. They have to go from left to right when they read. Very good. Very good. Yes.
Are we going to be assigned one child?
Yes.
And that child we stay with?
Yes. One or two, right, Ashley? Two.
And see only us.
Yes. You want to explain how that works, Ashley?
Sure.
I'm on the teaching part, I'm not on the schedule part.
So you all should be getting your assigned children at least by September 19th. But basically what we're thinking is that, so say for example you came, or you've committed to come 1 day per week. The idea is that you will tutor 2 children that 1 day. And it will be the same 2 children each week that you'll tutor. Same goes for if you're coming 2 times a week, then you'll tutor the same 2 children for the week. Does that make sense?
So, but if you've said you'll do like Monday and Wednesday, you'll have 2 children Monday and Wednesday?
Uh-huh, correct.
Same 2
For the
children
hour.
Monday and
Mhm,
Wednesday?
For the hour.
So, but if you say you're only doing 1 day, so that child only gets tutored 1 day a week?
Well, we'll pair them with someone
With
else
someone
too,
else? That
for
was
the-
another
for a
question I
second
had.
time.
So will they see other people, possibly other?
Perhaps, perhaps, depending on the scheduling and then the needs of the child also.
So I'm gonna give you just a few minutes to talk at your table about what we talked about today. I gave you this, so that if you wanna, and I gave you some little letters to practice making some words and to write with a partner maybe. You might look at the books on the table. These are the books, the type of books you're gonna be seeing. So you might wanna just familiarize, talk to a partner where you are. Just kind of, you can fiddle around with this, and you can use a pencil to write a word and have your partner make it, scramble it, and write it. You can look at the books. You can talk about the components of the lesson, but take a few minutes to look at what's on your table, okay? And you can practice.
I have another question. Do the schools test children for eye vision, so they do get tested?
But just work with your classroom teacher. If you have any concerns, work with the classroom teacher. That's the way I would best answer that.
That's one of the things I found.
So we're gonna be working with children that are at a certain level, lower children?
Well, you're going to be working at ones that may be a little bit struggling, yeah. Yes.
When they come into first grade, do they know anything?
Yes.
Do they know their ABC, they know how to write?
So that's these would get some of the higher.
But you may get somebody that hasn't been, that hasn't, it doesn't have a lot. That's what you're there to help.
Which I don't think is anything.
Yeah.
Still level 6, right?
Well, first grade has the largest number of levels of any grade because they're learning so much. There's so much decoding and things of that. They're learning to be readers in first grade. So you may be working anywhere between a 3 or 4, all the way up to the end of first grade is usually level 16 and 18. So that's a lot, but it's not guesswork on your part because the teacher's going to say, all right, they're ready for some 8s, and you'll pull some 8s, okay? And the thing of it is, that's where she's instructing them too. So it's not like the book's going to be way too hard because she's already working with the same levels with the children. So that's where they are reading instructionally. Instructionally means I can do most of it on my own, but I still need a little bit of help from my teacher. That's why it's doable. And you might have days when you say, that book was just too hard. Well, guess what? Sue Crossan still does that. I still work with kids. You ask Miss Brum, I come to Bayside all the time when I work with kids. And I'll say, oh, this is a great book for this child, and it was way too hard. And I'll go, yeah, Mrs. Crossan's going to read that to you, and I'm going to pick out another one. So don't worry about that. You have to look at the book ahead of time, just for those names and things like that. But it'll be fine. All right. So I'm going to let Melissa close.
Yeah, I think actually Laura's gonna say something really quick.
Oh, Laura, yeah.
And then Laura is from schools. Well, she and I are the same but different. I work for the city, she works for the schools. So we both do the volunteer programs in the 2 entities, and we're really
Wonder
excited.
Twin Powers.
Yeah, right. We come together. So we're working together on this project. She wanted to go over some real quick volunteer guidelines just that are school related.
Okay, I am the partnership coordinator for the division, and I facilitate community engagement, and I think I have talked with several of you on the telephone. But we do have some guidelines. I just want to go ahead and give these to you. They're actually being revamped today. As we speak, actually, I think we're all still there at the office working on some of these because we're rolling out a new volunteer electronic database system next week to our principals. So it is really cool. There's a mobile app attached to it, a site, so you can actually clock your volunteer hours right on your telephone. So, very exciting. Anyway, if you'll go ahead and take a look. Your badges, you mean? Yes. Okay, if you'll just kind of look at these, we will probably have you sign something when you come in, just that you understand them, and you are certainly able to ask any questions. We have telephone numbers on here as well. But if you look, the procedures for volunteering, a lot of these have been outlined in your manual as to where you're going to report and sign in. But also, we are going to work on some badges to create the badges for you, so you'll have those and you'll be able to put them on special lanyards for your for you, and they'll have those ready for you and when you come in, or you can actually bring them home. It'll depend on what the principal says we're going to do. And if you'll kind of look through them, basically you're always working under the direction and supervision of school personnel. As you know, in the school division, we don't always run the background checks, so this is one of those wonderful experiences where we've been working with the city, and they're willing to do the background checks for us. And of course, everything that we're doing is for the best interest of the child, and it's safety first for everything. So we all know that you are tremendous role models, and you're going to make a wonderful positive difference in their lives, and this is something that we are particularly proud of because of the collaboration. And if you open up to this center, the second page, basically the code of ethics is listed on the left-hand side, and I'm not going to read this to you, but if you would just kind of peruse through these, because you will be asked, you know, do you have any questions about it? And always remember that you are that role model that these little ones are looking up to, and they're going to follow you and your examples at all times. So if you have any questions, you are more than welcome to call any of us or to ask the principal here at the school. And we are here to support you in any way that we can. And thank you so, so much for being here and for your commitment to this wonderful project this year.
All right, thanks, thank you so much, I appreciate it. So thank you guys for going through the training, we really appreciate it. For those of you guys who have any questions, so tonight you leave, you feel jazzed, and then you get home and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to ask this question, or this came up and I forgot to bring this up. We have, Ashley's given you her contact information, the principal information's in your book, and like Laura said, she's given you her information. So whomever you feel most comfortable with, we welcome you to contact us. And the idea behind the whole giving you so much reading material, we are so sorry for all the writing, but the good thing is at the end of the day, most of the things that are in this packet and this information is going to be so valuable to you, and it's going to answer those questions that you might have after the fact, if we're, you know, if you don't want to call us. So we wanted to make sure that you guys remember the October the 6th event, the Family Literacy Night, very important. The About Me sections, if you have not turned them in, Ashley needs those by October the 1st. So you all have her email address. She can also work with you guys to get that. If you didn't get a picture or you have trouble getting a photograph taken, Ashley and I will take care of that after your tour. If you're not going on the tour because you're not going to be teaching at this school, we'll stay and we can take the picture here if you like that. So in addition to that, is there any last questions? And remember, there's never last questions because we're here tomorrow too.
When do we start?
Well, okay, so Ashley will be getting a hold, if we start on the 20th. 29th. 29th. But Ashley's going to call you or contact you in the next week with your assignment. So you'll have all the details that you need in the next week.
Correct.
What other questions? Yes.
That video, I don't know if you can email that, you know, or with Chloe in it, but
Is
if
it
you
easy
can.
to email that? You know what?
I don't have it, but you
I
can try.
do you have a jump with you? I can
I've got
get it,
with me.
I can get it to you all and they can post it.
That'd be very helpful.
That's what I was thinking.
Release from the child fair.
Oh,
We'll talk about it.
yeah.
We'll figure it out because we got to get the release for the student. But if we get the release for the student, then it
Or
should
even make one with an adult that you could just get in general.
I'm happy to be Chloe.
The mother,
I'm happy to be
the
Chloe.
mother was with me when I did it, so, but you're right, I still probably have to have it all legal.
Yeah.
But that's why I took the video, so that it could be a reference, so we'll figure it a way so you have access to it.
Worst case, we can always make copies and then just have you be able to have them to check out from us. Any other questions? All right, so for those of you that are tutoring at Bayside, or if you just want to go on the tour because it's fun, we are going to probably begin the tour now. Are we good? Okay.